You can die from your opinion. Be careful what you say. Words are spells, and that's no exaggeration. Internet people, the question is free speech under attack because it seems like you get emmed off in these streets for giving your opinion and standing 10 toes down on it. It's the reality of what freedom of speech looks like today. We talk about freedom of speech as if it's just words on a paper, a right written into law. But the truth is, people, freedom of speech comes at a cost. And that cost isn't always abstract. It can be your reputation, your relationships, and sometimes even your life. My question is to whoever wants to share their opinion. Are you truly free to say what you want to say? Over in the UK, there's a show called Backchat London, a typical Negro debate show that talks about the stupid shit in the Negro realm. Ginger J, aka the Gingerbread Man, said on the platform, "I hate black women."
Listen to me when I'm talking to you lot. Because you lot don't like to listen. I don't date black women because you don't like to get put in your place.
Place?
Oh! He gave his opinion and the cost was his job. Graham Lennon, the writer of TV's Father Ted, was arrested at the Heathrow airport over 3 social media posts on transgender issues. He was arrested on suspicion of inciting violence. This is in relation to posts on X challenging trans identity.
For 8 years now, I've been standing up for women's rights and trying to get people's attention about what's happening to kids in gender clinics.
In one of the posts, Linehan says if a trans-identified male is in a female-only space, he is committing a violent, abusive act. Make a scene, call the cops, and if all else fails, punch him in the balls.
I mean, that's insulting.
Sure, it's meant to be.
It suggests violence.
He gave his opinion and the cost was getting arrested. Charlie Kirk, a 31-year-old conservative commentator, a media personality, podcaster, and author, and the founder of Turning Point USA, was shot during a campus event at Utah Valley University.
Counting or not counting gang violence?
He gave his opinion and the cost was getting shot. This is where we at in society. When I saw this, I didn't think it would be real. Then after I saw the celebrations for his death, that's when I realized everyone's heart has become more hateful. The lack of empathy in today's world has plummeted. A lack of empathy also amplifies cycles of revenge. Right now, fast media, tribal incentives, and performative outrage encourage zero-sum reactions. Score the points, brand the target, and move on. The lack of empathy has reduced complex humans into unreasonable, savage beings to single actions or tweets, and it erodes the habit of listening. When empathy wastes away from your soul, public life turns punitive. We prefer punishment and exclusion to conversation or restoration. Whether you agree with him or not, whether you know about him or not, some people, his supporters and people who like hearing in different opinions, see him as speaking truth. Others see him as spreading division. But here's the thing. We don't have to agree with everything he says to respect his right to say it, but to kill him. To kill him for what he said. The real freedom of speech is about defending the principle, not just the opinions we personally like. You should have the right to say what you want without being censored. Freedom to speak without government censorship is a foundational idea in many societies. Shit, I don't want the government knocking on my door because I don't pay the BBC license. We should be free to say what we want to say without being locked up or killed. The ability to raise unpopular views, to criticize power, to name uncomfortable truths. But again, there's the grey area. What can you say and what can't you say? You can say something wrong, you lose your job. You can say something wrong, you get arrested. You can say something wrong and you lose your life. You can have the legal right to say something and still be deplatformed or face social backlash, and that gap is where most of today's arguments happen. The complexity of opinions matters. The complexity of opinions matters. Speech shapes the marketplace of ideas. We should be able to hear others' thoughts, agree or disagree, and debate thoughts and find if we can come to a resolution. If the price of speaking is too high, harassment, career loss, or constant doxing, people self-censor. But if speech is truly free in the sense of no consequences at all, that can enable harm or abuse. The challenge, people, is finding the norms and the institutions that protect dissent without giving cover to threats, harassment, or coordination of violence. So, internet people, here's more questions. I'm just thinking right now on the spot, people. Who gets to decide when speech is censored? A court, a company, a mob? If you legally can say something but lose your livelihood for it, is that a realistic guarantee of freedom? How should societies balance protected dissent with protecting people from coordinated harm? Again, internet people, is free speech under attack? That's the question a lot of people are asking today. On paper, in many countries, the right to free speech still exists. No government official is knocking on your door every time you share an opinion online. Maybe soon. But in practice, things feels different. People lose jobs, get banned from platforms, or face public backlash for what they say. Is that accountability or is it censorship? Is it protecting people or punishing them for thinking differently? When we blur free speech and hate speech, the confusion grows. Sometimes I don't even know, and my name is Mr. Hate. Shit. If I say I hate criminals, rapists, pedophiles, nobody's gonna have a problem with that because everybody agrees across the board with that. I should hope. Hate is a God-given emotion. Someone might call that hate speech. And if we can't agree on the difference, then almost anything can be labeled harmful, which means almost anyone can be silenced. That's a dangerous road, because once the line moves, it rarely stops moving. But here's the deeper problem: a lack of empathy. We don't just disagree anymore. We attack now. We don't try to understand what someone meant or where they're coming from. We rush to label, to cancel, to destroy. And when empathy is gone, conversations stop being about ideas. They turn into battles of who can shout the loudest. So, is free speech under attack? Maybe not legally in every case, but culturally, absolutely. The danger isn't just censorship from above, it's the silencing we do to each other when we refuse to listen, when we trade empathy for outrage. And that brings us back to the bigger truth. Freedom of speech always comes at a cost. The cost of hearing things you don't like. The cost of defending the rights of people you might disagree with. And as I sit here and think to myself, if we don't defend the freedom of speech, what is the alternative? Living in silence, fear, and controlled thought. Sounded like 1984. That is far more dangerous.